I was about to say, could you imagine being like 40, 50, 60 and having like a male roommate? You know, you're a guy. And there's like some 40, 50, and 60-year-olds out there right now watching next to their male roommate going, what? What? What's the problem, Corey? Yeah, you right. Monday afternoon, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day in the United States of America. Talk about the right guy at the right time. Really the wrong time, but you needed the right person, the right temperament, the right intellect. Thank goodness had a really qualified human being on both those very important angles. No, ridiculously intelligent and someone that had the right temperament. Not, hey, I'm above you guys, I'm above the fray, but was kind of above us and above the fray. Thank God. I think, quote, normal people like me or you might have become violent or not been as patient or been a little less tolerant. I don't even think tolerant's the right word. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't tolerant, but he was just, thank goodness, the right man for the right time. I say to most people that either question the holiday or question the man or the significance without, trying to be civil and not going, what's wrong with you? Or do you just not understand basic America? I kind of say, why don't you rattle off the 5 most significant, biggest, most known historic figures in U.S. history? And in chronological order, it would probably be like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, Abraham Lincoln, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I don't know who comes after Abraham Lincoln, but Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Seriously. If you're talking about historically significant figures that helped create the United States of America, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, Abraham Lincoln, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I mean, you had some people, especially in the South, beyond backwards ass thinking, just insane, crazy thinking, illogical thinking. There were 3 kinds of white people back then. There was the overt racist, moronic fool that you see all the time. The sheriff that was racist that ran the town into the ground if you were black, the KKK person, just ugly, mean, hate-filled white people. Then you had 2 other kind of white people that were against that. And Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. talked about one of these 2 white people that were against it. I'm hoping I wouldn't be in the category he's talking about. We don't know. You might be. It's easy to say I would have been the righteous white guy marching with black people in the 50s and 60s for equality. It's easy to say that, but then like some of your friends maybe even or relatives or your boss or people you work with, you may have alienated yourself. It may have taken in that particular time, that town, that city, that place you were, a brave and courageous white person to simply do the right thing and march with black folks and be proactive and your opinion is known and try to change the system. No, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke about these other white folks that were kind of, I'm against it, but I don't really want to rock the boat. He was sort of saying they're almost worse than the KKK racist type because at least the racist KKK type, you know exactly where you stand with them. They are the problem. It is glaring. They're obvious. They're easy to see. The silent white person. So no, I know I would not be the KKK racist guy. I hope I would be the brave, courageous, righteous white person that would be marching with black folks. But it's easy to look back and say you would be that. It's harder when you actually think about it with empathy, trying to understand your situation, black folks' situation, that time period of America. No, I hope I would do the right thing. Took a long time. Still today, there's a lot of folks that clinging to that past. Crazy. What a waste of time. No, I was blessed. I was fortunately raised the right way, whatever that means. My parents could have done better, could have done worse. Brothers and sisters, aunts, uncles, grandparents, any kind of influence I had. I guess I'm not saying it was perfect, but honestly, my parents never, ever, ever, never heard the N-bomb, not even like my mom or dad did Richard Pryor joke or something. I mean, my brother and I have used it like in a Chris Rock joke, Richard Pryor joke, using it like almost slang in a sad way, like making fun of like some racist person, how they would think, and laughing at the stupidity of it. But it's rare even then. It's just such an ugly word. I avoid it. I run from it. It's nasty. There's a few words in the English language that I don't use. That's one. Bunch of other racist stereotypes or gay stereotype words try to avoid or not use at all. But no, it's just sadly, there's still today some white folks that kind of think that way and still have that kind of viewpoint and carry that baggage. And no, fortunately, I don't. I don't really get jealous or envious. The opposite. I kind of live vicariously through people that have success and are happy for them. And what can I learn from them and that kind of thing. I try to avoid cynical, jaded people. The world naturally has enough of that. I don't want to be around that. I don't want that toxic environment. Don't want to be in the middle of that. No, but I'm lucky, like racist thoughts or feelings or sexist thoughts or feelings or any kind of homophobia or any of that. Never heard it from brothers, sisters, grandparents, parents, never. Just don't carry that bag of bricks, that anvil, that piano on my back every day, all the time. Just wear you out. Unnecessary. Life has natural obstacles that are going to come. You're going to get a pile of you-know-what thrown in front of you, and you have to deal with it. Do you want to make it a bigger pile? Do you want to create a pile when there's nothing there? Am I going in a certain direction, Joe? Where am I going? Oh. Roberto, via the cellular device, joins us on the program. Robert, how are you?
What up, Kaare?
How you doing, man?
Oh man, trying to get the firewood ready.
You got that right, dude. It's gonna drop by 35 degrees overnight.
Yeah, man. Schools are canceled over here in St. Tammany, so maybe I'll get a rebate on my property taxes for every unplanned day out of school. You think that's gonna happen?
I doubt that. And the septic tank sewage in the ditch thing, you're probably not going to get a tax break on that. None of that. No, the triple P, the pipes, the plants, and the pets, definitely in effect on the North Shore, even more so than the South Shore. You guys could get into the 20s. Should get into the 20s.
Yeah, man, the pups they're a little extra chipper this time of year. Well, just when the weather gets like this, they, get a little extra pep in their step. I guess maybe they like the cold. I'm not sure. Hey, man, just a little bit about me. I'm a registered Republican, really only to vote in the primary. I'm actually supporting Nikki Haley. Just kind of wanted you to think of, do we have a story if Trump doesn't run away tonight with these Iowa caucuses?
Oh, yeah. God, yeah, you have a story if Trump doesn't run away. I'm hoping Trump doesn't run away. I'm hoping that in an ideal world, Republicans come to their senses and they nominate anybody but Trump, and Joe Biden sort of, I don't know, be simultaneously, because Biden's thing would just be an announcement, but that Biden decides not to run. Someone else besides Trump and Biden doesn't get, and I want a bag of money and free first-class airline tickets too.
Yeah.
I want.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
just sad, man. 30 million people, and we're stuck with these two dotards.
Yeah.
To vote for.
Yeah.
Hell, I'd vote for John Bell. Yeah, I don't know if you call me senator. I don't know what you call me, but I'm on the line with.
You're on the line with what?
I don't know if I'm nowhere near where the Republican Party is now, but I'm certainly not anywhere near where the Democratic Party is now. Hell, I'd probably, if
I think anybody, and thanks so much for the phone call. I appreciate it, Robert. I think anybody that says I'm a Democrat or Republican, you have to disclaim like where you are within that party, because the squeaky wheels, I don't know anyone that would want to be that's a Democrat or Republican, but I say that and there's 10, 15% that are the squeaky wheels and like, what do you mean? I want to be that. I embrace being that. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. Coming right back.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, hey, what can I do to give you a hand? And he said, well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place. So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River Cities Total Maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOLAAC.com is your cool spot.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Happy Dr. Martin Luther King Day. The right man at a very volatile time in American history. No, thank God for him. Boy, lots of sports action today. The Pels just losing to Dallas. The Mavs in Big D after taking care of them in Dallas a few nights back. As we speak, Buffalo's up on Pittsburgh 14-0 in Buffalo. I believe that game was actually scheduled for yesterday, and they did the smart thing and put it till today. Tonight, Eagles at Bucks. NFL playoffs continue. Sans the Saints. I joined him last week on, I'd say his radio program, but he was actually filling in as a host. But then again, he's part owner of the station, so he can do anything he wants. Jeff Thomas joins us on the neutral ground. What's happening, Jeff?
Hey, Corey, how are you today? I'm doing good. Happy King Day.
Yeah. Is that what we call it, King Day?
Yeah, that's what I call it. Yeah, most people I talk to say that. Happy King Day.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. I've been hearing that all day long, you know?
I like
Let me just say this to you. I got a little bone to pick with America and King Day. Here's my deal. This is how I know people don't take King Day seriously. You know, retailers have every holiday they have a 4th of July sale, a President's Day sale, a Memorial Day sale, a Christmas, when is there going to be a King Day sale? I'd like to see that. I'd like to see, and I'm laughing, but I'm very serious. I just think that, you know, it's a relatively new holiday, but is it because Martin Luther King was Martin Luther King? Why don't we have any King Day sales? Is my question.
The first thing I would think is it's 3 weeks after Christmas. That's the only thing I would think.
Okay. Listen, they had an after Christmas sale. I hear you. Listen, I just wonder about that. It just makes me wonder. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's timing. I'll go with that for today.
Go with timing, Jeff. It's not always a black and white issue, is it?
Yeah, it is. Everything is. Go ahead. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
That could be something right there. WBOK. It's always a black and white issue.
I love it. You can say it too, huh? I mean, you got 12 stations to announce, but you know, you could. How do you do your promos? What do you say? How do you list all of your stations?
My promos are usually something like keeping the ladies off of him. You know,
I get it.
He just wants to get from point A to point B. Ladies, give him some space. Corey Johnson every weekday at 4, something like that.
I got it. But listen, I heard you. I was listening in, and I liked your list of top Americans. What was it again? George Washington, Thomas Jefferson,
Benjamin Franklin, Abraham Lincoln, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I can't think of a bigger top 5, and that's sort of in chronological order too.
Well, just think of the time gap between Abraham Lincoln
100 years.
and Martin Luther King.
100 years.
You're talking over 100 years. Am I wrong about the math there?
No, it's almost 90 years. I mean, I guess Dr. Martin Luther King was rolling in the early to mid 50s. So, yeah, and Emancipation Proclamation was 1862. End of the Civil War was 1865. So 90 years later.
Well, let's talk about those 90 years, Corey, if you don't mind. I don't know. Do you have a topic you wanted me to discuss today? Or
not Jeff, not at all. I mean, even though this isn't WBOK, where that morning show, I think they just walk on and there is a blank sheet and they just start yucking it up. No, we can do that. We can pretend it's that program.
Okay. Well, listen, I did prepare maybe 10 minutes before, I knew I was going to be on. So it's not, a very tight presentation I want to give. But I do want to talk about, and I just thought it's symbiotic that you went from Lincoln to Martin Luther King, and you got 90 years, and a lot happened in those 90 years. And talking about race relations, right? I mean, you went from the end of the Civil War to the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
The 13th
From the end of the Civil War, sadly, 90 years to the Civil Rights Movement. That's sad.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments and what those were. Those were critical amendments, right?
Now, what is this? Lyndon Johnson, 64,
No.
65?
Yeah, but I'm talking about the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, and the 15th Amendment. Let me tell you what they were. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery. The 14th Amendment made African Americans citizens. You had the right to assemble. You could do whatever the heck you wanted. You were an American citizen. And the 15th Amendment gave African American men the right to vote. Women still couldn't vote.
Gotcha.
So those amendments, I mean, we're talking right after the Civil War. You know, it was like boom, bam, bam. They happened. And then after the Civil War, we had this thing called Reconstruction, right? And that's when in America, the federal government had troops primarily in the South, in the South, to ensure that the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments were the law of the land. And so, you know, what would happen if you were African American and you were denied the right to vote your entire adult life? You ran out and registered to vote. And that's what happened. And so black people ran to the polls and registered to vote. And then during Reconstruction, you know, Louisiana had a black governor.
Yeah, Pinchback, I believe.
PBS Pinchback, exactly right. And Oscar Dunn was the lieutenant governor. First state in the Union. How about that? Louisiana does a lot of great things, I got to tell you.
Don't forget about the emergence of the KKK around this time.
Well, no, I'm so glad you bring that point up, Corey, because, right, that's exactly right. Because then what happens? White folks are up in arms about black people having the right to vote. What do you mean? They're American citizens? Three of them can get together more than, no way, we're not having this. So, you know, after Reconstruction started to wane, the Feds started pulling the troops out. Then you had the rise of the Ku Klux Klan, and you started having all of these murders. And, you know, so then they came up, Louisiana had the Black Codes. These were state laws. The Black Codes meant several of them. One in particular was no more than 3 black people could be together outside at one time. That was the law in the state of Louisiana. They couldn't vote. You had to pass a literacy test. Now, it's not just can you read ABCs, can you recite? It was recite the Lord's Prayer backwards 3 times, fast. Or tell me how many white beans are in this big giant jar of jelly beans. And I mean, crazy tests that nobody could pass. But these were tests that, you know, people had to pass. They were state laws. But so there were poor whites, though, Corey, that they couldn't recite the Lord's Prayer backwards.
Of course not.
So how were they allowed to register to vote?
Oh, it wasn't necessary for them to do the ridiculous stuff. That's the whole...
Huh?
It wasn't necessary for them to go through that ridiculous ritual.
Well, no, usually, but if you were registering to vote and white people were there and black people were there and the white person couldn't recite the Lord's Prayer, you know what they did? Louisiana, they were smart, man. You know what they came up with? You've heard this phrase, the grandfather clause. Can you grandfather me in? That meant if your grandfather had the right to vote, now, you know, back then, African Americans were slaves. None of them could vote. Then you could vote. So you didn't have to pass that literacy test. You didn't have to tell me the Lord's Prayer backwards. You didn't have to tell me that how many beans were in the giant container.
No, I've never heard of a white person ever taking any of those tests, obviously.
Correct. Well, you're right. You're right. And so, but, you know, so that's what happened. But, you know, so this is what started. But so then you start seeing black people starting to register to vote and feeling themselves, right? And all of a sudden they are, you know, going out in public 5 and 6 at a time. In fact, another great Louisiana thing, the worst massacre in U.S. history after Reconstruction it's called the Colfax Massacre. You know about that? Let me tell you about it. There were 80 black men who were registered to vote and were peacefully assembling in the courtroom in Colfax, Louisiana. What happened was this: about 300 white, they were unarmed in the court, talking about how they were going to get more black people to go out to vote and register to vote and that kind of stuff. It was just a meeting. A white mob ensued. 300 men rained down, pulled them out of the courtroom, killed them all. It was the worst massacre in U.S. history right after Reconstruction. Another great Louisiana fact. We got the grandfather clause, but also we got and we got the Colfax massacre. But out of this, some really strange, in my opinion, but great legislation. Well, not great, horrible legislation. Probably the worst decision in the history of the United States Supreme Court came down. Because what happened was one of the family members sued because out of the 300 who went to trial, only 300 who were there and committed the murders, only 9 went to trial.
Hey, Jeff, hold that thought real quick on that point. Okay. I'm going to knock out this quick break. Corey Johnson with you. Jeff Thomas is with us on
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop. For over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Jeff Thomas is with us. He's part owner of WBOK radio station. So he knows when that brake trains are coming down the tracks, you better jump out of the way or it'll just run you over. Sorry to interrupt you, Jeff. Please continue.
Hey, no sweat. Listen, we were talking a little bit about the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. I want to tell you why and you brought up the Ku Klux Klan. Why do they wear those silly pointed hoods? Why do they wear them?
I just thought it was because they're a bunch of hate-filled losers. There's another reason?
There is a whole nother reason. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Let me tell you. Remember I told you, that right after the Civil War, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments passed. One abolished slavery. The 14th Amendment made everybody born in the United States a citizen, including formerly enslaved
and black men, the right to vote.
That's the 15th Amendment. Right. Now, the 14th Amendment, here's what's important, is that gives you equal protection of the law, right? So surely it's against the law to murder people, right? Even in 1896 or whenever we're talking about. Even then. So how is it that 300 men were identified, known, 9 of them went to trial, but they were all acquitted? And I told you there was we know why. I mean, the home cooking, white dog don't eat white meat. There's Paul Boyer, the great Paul Boyer, who's passed on now, but was a great radio host on WBOK prior to our ownership, but a legend in media in New Orleans. Paul Boyer was one of the first black people on TV, had his own show, a great journalist. But nonetheless, so, those 9 men were all acquitted by all white juries. But a family member sued saying, hey, wait a minute, we got equal protection. This 14th Amendment applies to us. So then there was a U.S. case, U.S. versus Krishishank. I may be saying it wrong. But basically, it's probably one of the worst rulings in the history of the Supreme Court. It said that the equal protection of laws only applied to when it was the state doing the acting. So if the state murdered somebody, or if the state, took away your rights, then it was wrong. But if an individual did it, it's okay.
That's just meaningless.
So you know what you had? You had the rise then of the Ku Klux Klan. And why did they wear those pointy little silly hoods? Because if the sheriff and the mayor and everybody else is seen out murdering and committing the heinous acts we all know the Ku Klux Klan is done, then they had no protection. But because they were individuals, although you couldn't identify them, that's why they hid their identities.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, of course. Well, yeah. They didn't know. If you would ask me that, I would have been like, yeah, they're just hiding their identity. I thought there was some significance to the point of the hood.
Yeah, well, that's it. There is that significance to the point. There is a legal reason they did it, because if they were identified, then the state of Louisiana could have been held liable. They acting.
I don't think there's a legal reason they did it, Jeff. There's a cowardly reason they did it, so they wouldn't be identified. I mean, you could be identified, by once the hood's off, or if your hand had a tattoo, or something like that. But no, I get the gist of it. Yeah, of course. No, it was a bunch of sick individuals back there. I watched that stuff. Now, as a white male heterosexual, I don't feel any guilt. It has nothing to do with me. I didn't do any of this. I don't.
That's right.
But I look back and I'm like, just these people that happen to be white, these sick people, and this legacy and generational thing, and just, we've all seen the black and white footage of police dogs and fire hoses and lynchings and all, especially what 60 Minutes did with the about 15 years ago with all the lynching photos and the crowds of people that would come to watch and bring their children and stuff. I mean, systematic,
and break
systemic,
off
just
a burnt finger to keep as a souvenir.
Yeah, no, just sick. No, Jeff, I said this opening up the show. I mean, there were 3 types of white people back then.
I heard it.
You know, there were the racist white people, the sick, and Dr. Martin Luther King he didn't appreciate them, but it's like, hey, at least I can identify those losers just easily. But he used to bum out about, what did he call them? Not the passive white people, the moderate whites. I think he called them.
That's right.
The moderate whites that sort of sit on the sideline, and if you ask them, they'd be aghast and they'd agree with everything you said. It's horrible, but they're not getting involved,
They didn't. That's right. There was no action. That's right. So look, we're still going through the 90 years, and we're probably about 30 years through. And another great Louisiana case hit the Supreme Court. Guess what that one was? Plessy versus Ferguson.
Sure.
You heard that, right?
Of course, right over there on Race and right off St. Claude. Yeah, the train car.
The historical.
Yeah, that's
exactly
another
right.
That's another bad decision. I mean, I guess you'd say it better than nothing, but no one wants that, and it was bad overall.
What did it amount to? What is the phrase that comes from?
Separate but unequal. I mean, I call it that.
Separate but equal.
Separate but unequal.
But we knew that it was separate but unequal. Exactly right. So I went to high school with a descendant of Homer Plessy. His last name is Plessy. He's an engineer now, doing great things. I think his great grandfather would be really proud of him. But Louisiana has really had a prominent role in the structure of American government and how things are parsed out. We got separate but equal because of Louisiana. We have the U.S. versus Cruikshank, which basically means white people can kill black people, and the government can't be held accountable. And so we saw the rise of the Klan. But then, that Martin Luther King got his lesson about what is he most famous for in your mind? Let me ask you that question.
Dr. Martin Luther King?
Yes.
I mean, I guess obviously the Freedom March on DC, but I mean, like the Birmingham letter is, content wise is probably like that would be the micro for me, the Birmingham letter, the macro, the, DC. I have a dream.
How about where'd they march from to get to Washington?
What, you talking like Selma or like Birmingham bus? I mean, there's a bunch of different things, I guess.
Well, there you go. The Montgomery. It's Montgomery.
Yeah, Montgomery. And you know where they got that idea from, huh?
That's what I was going to say. You tell the people. Go ahead.
Well, Baton Rouge, but a year or two earlier, Baton Rouge had a bus boycott. Black folks boycotted, and Dr. Martin Luther King, I forget, was either in New Orleans or Baton Rouge and had heard about it or was there during the time of it and remembered it and implemented it.
He was
in Montgomery.
He was eating at the great Dookie Chase restaurant, which still exists today.
Second floor.
Chapter 4. And with Dookie Chase, the original still exists at the same location on the corner of Orleans. And I think that's Miro, one of them, it's the same street.
Yeah.
Miro and
I think it's Miro going the other way. Galvez comes in, right?
Right. So then on the corner of Galvez and Orleans, you still want some great food. Listen, I don't own any shares in Dookie Chase, but it's one of my favorite restaurants.
You got Dookie Chase right there. A block back, you got Willie Mays, and then about 3 blocks down, you got was it Gabrielle?
Another
That's pretty good right there on Orleans Avenue, which should have been renamed after Leah Chase. But anyway,
that's right. So anyway, but Martin Luther King was there in New Orleans, eating and strategizing. They formed the SCLC here, Southern Christian Leadership Conference. This was how actually Dr. King started his formation and organization and organizing. So he learned how to organize. And they talked about, the significance of organizing. And one of the participants in that meeting was the Reverend T.J. Jemison from Baton Rouge, who talked about the fact that those men, those boys, those people in Baton Rouge were boycotting the buses, and they just were walking. And Dr. King couldn't believe it. He had to go see it for himself. And you're right. People, instead of riding the bus, and here was the deal, right? 85 to 90% of the riders of the bus were black people. But the state law said that one of the black codes, we talked about those, and I only gave one. They're horrible. Anybody Google the black codes, Louisiana black codes, you'll see how restrictive Jim Crow was in Louisiana. But one of them was that the first 10 rows of a bus were reserved for white people. And it didn't matter if not a white person was on the bus, black people couldn't sit in those seats. And so you had, but men and women in overcrowded conditions in the back of buses having to stand up when there were rows of seats available to them. And you better believe that bus driver would not have it if any of them dared to sit there.
Wow.
And so they boycotted.
Yep.
And they actually walked rather than catch the bus.
Oh, yeah, for miles. 10 people in one car. Lots of folks were just doing a lot of carpooling back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Yeah, any way possible. Yep.
That's right. That's right. For those who had cars, but remember, we're talking late 50s.
No, exactly. There's very few black people that had vehicles. You're right.
That's right. So they were walking. They were walking. And rain, sleet, snow, didn't matter. And he couldn't believe that people were that dedicated. And he took that, he learned, Dr. Martin Luther King learned right here in Louisiana, went back to Montgomery, and organized the bus boycotts there in Montgomery, left Montgomery, marched to Washington, and gave his great I Have a Dream speech.
And
right?
Mahalia Jackson was right there. Jeff Thomas is with us. Jeff, going to knock out a quick break, coming right back. Don't move, New
The
Orleans.
Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Hey, Fausto's on Vets, about 6 blocks in from the parish line, the city's best Sicilian and Italian. They open their doors in 7 minutes. Hey, Jeff, I was hoping you might be able to stick around into the 5 o'clock hour. What do you think?
Yeah, I got a little time. Let me tell you, one of the things I have to do is this. Martin Luther King Day is not a day off for me. It's a day on. It's a day to do good works in our community. One of the things we've been doing all day is going to the homes of senior citizens, black and white, who need their pipes weatherized. And so, with this bad weather coming in, we don't want anybody to have what we're finding is the main coming into the house really is where people in the spigots don't have any protection. So I have to go. I got a crew out there working. I need to go finish with them. But yeah, I can definitely stick around maybe 15, 20 more minutes.
Yeah, like maybe like 5:20, something like that.
Yeah, sure.
Just because I didn't know the 4 o'clock hour was going to be story time with Jeff Thomas.
Well, you told me 4:08. You didn't call me till 4:18. But anyway.
You know how that goes with radio, man.
Listen, I get it. I know the business. One of the things I do also want to mention, you're right. I am one of the partners in WBOK, but I also have the biggest black-owned website in the state of Louisiana. It's called think504.com. Anybody want to go out there and get some woke? I know they hate that word. I love it. Woke and information about like kind of the stuff I'm talking about. We have great information pieces. We have opinion pieces out there. I have some great writers who work for me, Kenneth Cooper, David Subley, myself, think504.com. We get over 1 million hits a month at that website. It's a big deal. And so many in your audience may not be familiar. Some may not be familiar. Go check it out. Think 504. Shameless plug. Thank you, Corey, for that.
Oh, no problem. Of course, Jeff. Hey, that's interesting what you just said, the woke part. The word bogus used to mean counterfeit.
Right.
Now it's morphed into more than that. Like bogus means bad. It's like, no, that's real. You may not like it, but it's an authentic thing, but it may be bad. So words change definition. I'm not speaking for you, but I mean, you can pretend woke means like aware. but woke means hyper liberal, progressive, real hardcore left now. I don't make the definition, just like, the other word I just mentioned, but so I don't know. Is that what you're meaning? That you're real hardcore left, very progressive, or are you're pretending it means aware still?
I think I think the word was hijacked, and so
it was definitely hijacked. But Democrats like letting Republicans hijack word. Liberal, no one puts it on a sign, but conservative, I mean, that's supposed to mean something. It blows my mind. That's why I like Mandy Landry. She's like, I'm a progressive. I'm hyper liberal. I'm proud. She puts liberal on her sign. I'm like, how can you not respect Mandy Landry? All these other liberals, they hide from it, and conservatives put it up there like it's some, badge of honor. It's mind blowing to me.
Right. Well, listen, this to me is like the racist white people part of the white community. When they find something, it's theirs. They came over here and found this, and so. Well,
hey, I'm not defending those people, but like they think of like three things as like where everyone else thinks of thousands. So when they find something, they have to embrace it, Jeff. These aren't the most, mentally diverse thinkers we're talking about here.
I got
the lowest common denominator. So no, I'm not defending them, but they're like children. They got a bucket of ice cream. They got to embrace it.
Yeah. So you're saying that if someone attempts or hijacks a word, that the original meaning is no longer valid.
Of course, especially if the folks that are embracing it allow the other people to turn it into a negative word. Yeah, liberal. Like no one thinks conservative you can think negative thoughts like it's not your ideology, but no one thinks conservative like weak or soft. But some people in America think liberal means weak and soft now. Because that's what has been pushed, that narrative, and liberals didn't fight back to defend it. The liberals could come up with a bunch of things, but they just don't play the name-calling game, I guess, that maybe Trump has made so popular. But yeah, I think words, definitions can change.
So how does that, tell me when the change happens. Because conservatives, to use your word, continuously use and change the word woke, for example, to mean what you described it as opposed to being.
It changes over time. Like in the beginning, I think the word was righteous, and probably conservatives didn't think about it. They just accepted it as, Democrats came up with a good one. But then when you're like, I want to remove, not you, when folks are like, I want to remove Abraham Lincoln's name off of a public building because he might have had slaves or his father did, that presentism or presentism attitude. When people want to, take George Washington's name off of a public building. Yeah, I think people are like, defund the police, that it slowly builds where, my God, that's what woke thinking is. So yeah, it means like hyper left, progressive, loony left, sort of like the opposite of the Trumpster.
Yeah, I get the new definition. My question is, what I'm having trouble with is understanding when the switch takes place. What happens at 3:00 on Sunday? Everybody gets together.
It's like homosexuality or transgender. Transgender. We can label it. People can be more out there with it, but no, it didn't start Tuesday at 4 p.m. It's just a gradual thing. It's always been there. It just revealed itself. Hey, stick around, Jeff. That's Blue Boy barking, saying it's the top of the hour. Jeff Thomas is with us. Hey, happy Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Corey Johnson with you. 5 o'clock power hour. Next.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers Breitling time, 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson.
Susan Spicer joining us on the program.
Even when they presented me the award, the people that I look up to the most, Frank was there and Donald Link was there. It does cause you to reflect back and think about your whole career.
Maybe the Ella Brennan Award says that to you, like I've arrived.
It certainly is kind of the ultimate honor when it comes to cooking and hospitality in New Orleans and the world.
New Orleans style talk gumbo, served daily.
Doesn't get much better than that, huh?
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
What a great cartoon. Johnny Quest. Who didn't like Johnny Quest? Incredible. Listen to the music. Johnny Quest had a full-blown orchestra every episode. It's Buddy D every episode. Every episode, he'd have to write another, theme, another ballad melody for that particular episode, like a movie, and it was a cartoon. Johnny Quest from the 60s, pretty impressive stuff. No Johnny Quest today. It's the Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson. Here's Mr. Drew Brees, number 9. It is indeed New Orleans, even though Mr. Drew Brees lives in about an $8 million compound in La Jolla, California. La Jolla, very similar to Avondale. Very similar to Avondale. Oh, boy. Monday afternoon, freeze alert, temperatures dropping by 35 degrees. Triple P in effect, folks. Pipes, plants, most importantly, pets. Bring your pets inside, for crying out loud. Happy Dr. Martin Luther King Day, the right man at a very volatile time in American history. Thank God for Dr. Martin Luther King. Beyond an American hero. I mean, you get somebody in there that's acting, quote, normal, like most people, you and me, would act. There's got to be some violence, volatile attitude, just enough's enough. I can't control myself anymore. Let's go. It's go time, the easy way to go. But after getting your head pounded against the wall, it seems like the only way to go. Not with Dr. Martin Luther King. He just seemed to be above it all, living in the bubble because it was all him, but could pull himself out of it. Just, I don't know if anyone had more empathy than Dr. Martin Luther King, understanding how others think, even evil people. Pretty amazing. The perfect person for a terrible time in America. Got us through it, advanced America. I mean, every day, every minute of every day, of every week, of every month, of every year, it gets better and better and better. I think a sure sign of that, the white male heterosexual me, male white heterosexual, all beyond my control. We were always like the barometer, like we make $1 and what's everyone else make based off of the white male heterosexual in America making that $1. I think it was about 5 years ago, Asian male past white American male makes like $1.10. First time everybody was below the white heterosexual male. Now the Asian males had like $1.10. But there's still just about every other class, race, creed, religion below the white heterosexual male. And so no, the journey continues. That's what I think about on a day like this. And thank God I was raised right by righteous people. I don't really think about race in like any kind of a negative way, or women in any kind of a negative or lesser way, or homosexuals or anybody. I'm not homophobic, sexist, racist. I don't get jealous or envious. No, I'm lucky. Seriously, good parenting, lots of, raised by a village kind of mentality. I was lucky. Hey, Jeff Thomas is with us on Dr. Martin Luther King Day on a Monday afternoon. Jeff Thomas is a part owner of WBOK. A lot of people would just say like the black radio station in New Orleans.
Oh, really?
I think, huh? That's fair, huh, Jeff?
It's the black community station. I guess you're right. Yeah, you know what? I'll wear that mantle. Absolutely. I'll embrace that. Absolutely. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
if we earned it, then we should wear it.
Yeah, historically, it's been that way, and New Orleans always has had a huge black population. I mean, pre-Katrina was 7 out of 10 New Orleanians in Orleans Parish are black. It's still 6 out of 10, still the majority. Black females basically control the political process in New Orleans, or can if when they come out in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
that's right. Look, you wanted. I felt like you wanted to have a little pushback between you and I today. Something you said, I feel a little static on. Let's push. Let me get some clarity. You called it, what is it? Presentism. When people want to take George Washington's name off of a building. So let's talk about that. You mind?
Not at all. Presentism or presentism is taking today's standards, morals, ethics, and applying them to everything in history, which, is absolutely insane. But yeah, that's
all right. So given that, if this is insane, then like taking down those monuments, what, you were for or against that?
Well, I mean, in the beginning, I was like, wow, okay. And then, yeah, I had no love for any of those monuments or people. So no, I'm glad to see them go, and thought the process could have been a little different, but Mitch Landry had an idea of how to do it. It wasn't perfect, but you got a bunch of folks that, New Orleans, I don't care if you're black, white, Republican, or Democrat. Some folks don't like change. Some people are hate-filled racists, whatever. Yeah, no, I'm glad those monuments. I like Doc Francis Parkway. I like better than Jeff Davis Parkway.
Oh man, tell me about
Allen Toussaint. I mean, Allen
Mm-hmm.
Toussaint instead of Robert E. Lee. I mean, what's there not to like?
Yeah. Well, there are some people who don't like it. And how does this presentism notion apply to your liking it? Should Robert E. Lee's name have stayed on the street because it was the name given to the street?
Well, no, it just depends on it. It's not. I don't think you can just put a blanket over everything like that. I think it's individual people, individual situations.
Robert E. Lee was the president of the Confederacy.
Oh no, I'm not. I like Allen Toussaint better than Robert E. Lee. I'm glad they changed it.
Okay, so if you like the present guy better, then you take off the old guy. Is that your approach? I'm just trying to figure it out.
Well, I mean, I don't really understand the question. Do I like Robert E. Lee? I mean, I don't like Robert E. Lee was in the Confederate. Let me just ask you this, Jeff, real quick. I answered a lot of your questions. How long was Robert E. Lee in the U.S. military?
The U.S. military? I don't know. Tell me.
It was like so you don't have any idea. It was like 30 years. And then,
is that right?
And then when we say today in the United States, we say, the United States are. Back then, they said the United States is. So think about that. Like the state was bigger than the country. So I'm not trying to defend Robert E. Lee. I'm glad his name's off the street. But
make up your mind.
No, you didn't make up your mind. It isn't a blanket thing. You want to make this just cut and dried. And it's each individual. So Abraham Lincoln is the number one mover of a human being on planet Earth.
Corey, what's your criteria? A slave owner is okay in your world. You think a man who owned slaves, who enslaved other people, who pulled the teeth out of a man's mouth because his were rotten and made a denture.
No. I mean, we can go into what slavery's all about, and it's way beyond just black people being enslaved. They're not the originators or the first movers. America's not the originator of slavery or the first mover. But who would be for slavery or anybody involved with slavery? But let me ask you on a much lesser level. Do you believe in adultery? Is it good for someone to be an adulterer?
No, not at all.
So should they be recognized?
So listen, I'm asking you, what's the criteria for removing them? You said this presentism is biased against people because You know, they were living in their
because you're
time,
using
and
today. I mean, like it would be like judging you what you did as a child instead of what you're doing as an adult. I'm sure you did a bunch of stupid stuff as a child, but you grew up,
I was
Jeff.
the perfect child, Corey. I was the perfect child.
Well, I think I was too. But we're trying to be realistic with everyone else out there.
You've been talking about how perfect you are the whole daggone show. My parents raised me good. I'm
not perfect. No one's perfect. I'm fortunate. What, should I not say that? I'm lucky.
No, you should. You should. But I want to see you are diverting. I'm asking you a question. What is the criteria for making a change?
There's no single criteria. You can't say anyone who owns slaves can't have a school named after him, because Abraham Lincoln may have owned slaves. His father did in Kentucky. Abraham Lincoln's the number one mover of ridding slavery, maybe in the world, of any human being. So I don't know. I'll ask you that question, but break time, coming right back.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store, and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" He said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Served in New Orleans' finest restaurants, Leidenheimer French bread. There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore led us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
He's throwing gasoline on a fire. It's Jeff Thomas. How you doing, Jeff? You still there?
Thank you for having me on. I doubt I'll ever get an invitation back. So I'm going to make the most
Oh,
of it today.
are you kidding me?
I'm just kidding you. Of course I'm kidding you. You know, listen, this is talk radio. We're talking. I'm just having a little fun with you. But one of the things I did want to, jumping back to the serious side of stuff, and we're kind of jumping topics back and forth. One of the things that I think is important for people to know on this King Day is that, you know, I think many white people want to put Martin Luther King in a box. He was about peaceful nonviolence, and that's it, you know, and for people for the right to vote. But he was much more than that. In fact, his last speech, the great I Have a Dream speech, was about as much about economic justice as it was about the right to vote. It was much about black people getting paid. You were talking earlier about the white heterosexual male getting $1. Back then, black men were getting 10 cents on the dollar to the white man. Right now, it's only 30 cents. You know, we have these real disparities.
The black man who gets 30 cents to the white man's dollar, you're saying?
That's correct.
No, that's where did you pull that out of, Jeff?
You Google it.
I'll Google it right now, and that is, I'll bet you 30 cents. That's way off.
All right, let's see.
There's no one in the demographic anywhere that makes 30 cents to the white man's dollar. Nowhere.
Oh,
not even close.
Let's look it up.
I'll Google it right now. I don't think there's anyone under 50 cents to the white man's dollar in 2020.
What do you look
30
up?
cents.
What are you Googling?
Oh,
I got a computer in front of me too. What are you Googling?
the what is it, Joe? I mean, there's a bunch of different things, but I mean, I got my producer Googling
I'm
something.
Googling black 30 cents to white dollar. That's what I just Googled. Shows a 24-cent pay gap
Between male and so the dollar would be the black male 70 something cents. That's
okay. Well, 70 cents still.
No. I mean, Jesus. I mean, dude, I mean, this is WBOK right here. This is it in a nutshell. Hey, it's 30 cents. The white black man gets 30 cents on the dollar, and then y'all just move on with that. And then someone goes, no, it's 72 cents. And then y'all go, okay, 72 cents.
We present facts and we present real information.
Oh, wow.
Maybe I misspoke just now.
Yes.
30 cents. I remembered it wrong. It's not.
No, you had it backwards. You had it opposite.
It's a 30-cent difference.
Yes, you had it the totally 100% wrong.
Here's my point. You were talking about the fact that white men make more than black men. There's a 30.
Oh, and gay people and women and Asian and Latino, everybody. Yes, everyone. Used to, except the Asian male now makes 10 cents more.
All right. So here is the important point. Martin Luther King was fighting for economic justice. His I Have a Dream speech was as much about economic justice as it was about the right to vote.
Oh, no, I remember. I know the speech well, of course, the checkbook and all of that. Yeah.
That's right. America wrote a blank check. That's right. But one of his big fears was that he was attempting to bring black people into a burning house, to fully assimilate and integrate African Americans into a burning house of the structure of America, that it can't be sustained, that it's a problem that will never be solved. And so, you know, still to this day, there's this 30 cents difference. Let me say it right for Corey. Otherwise, you're going to accuse me of being some kind of propaganda.
No. There's just I mean, Jeff, we're both adults. $1.30 and $1 to 70 cents is a major difference. Like
I
mean, it's
okay, you make
it's
a good
huge.
point, and it's 30 cents difference. The point is still that not only do white men make much more than black men for doing the same work, there is an economic head start of this 90 years. Do you know, these are facts that I'm about to give you. The black codes didn't allow black people to own property in the state of Louisiana. It was illegal. You couldn't lease property.
I think, Jeff, all we can do today is continue and even come up with more ways to, United Negro College Fund,
there you go.
Banks like Liberty Bank and other banks that aren't like Liberty Bank, no more redlining and things of that nature. But there needs to be a lot of that. And that's the, it's not affirmative action. I don't call it that. And it's not not retribute. What do you call it? Like what California approved, the crazy insanity, 3 million per each black reparations.
Oh,
it's not reparations either. It's
reparations is wrong. You think reparations is wrong?
A cash payment to people. Yeah. If black people want to alienate everybody else in the country, take cash payments for reparations. Yes. And there's so many different ways to do it, Jeff. There's so many. You do more of what I'm talking about. You give black people the chance to get in the game at the same level as the white male and women and homosexuals and everybody else. But you don't hand out cash payments. Where would that go? I mean, what black people get them, what black people don't. If we're going to do black people, you better do Native American Indians first. I mean, we can go on and on and on.
Listen, I got to go help this little white lady around the corner because she don't have no insulation on her pipes. So I got to really get going. But we can have, I vehemently disagree with you about this reparations thing. In fact, I encourage people to go to think504.com and just search for reparations. There are Troy Henry, who's one of my partners, wrote a great, highly intelligent article about how reparations would help everybody in America, white and black people. And let me just tell you, y'all are gonna hijack that word. It's gonna be like woke, and reparations is a bad word.
Who's gonna?
It's good for America.
Jeff, real quick.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let you last word. Who is they? Like they're gonna? I'm gonna hijack the word, and who are you representing? Black folks?
I'm just talking in generalities.
Yeah, big generalities. Because two things: I'm not them, and you don't represent all black folks.
Right. I'm just referring to I'm making an analogy between the woke analysis that you gave earlier about how that word was hijacked.
Now,
so my point is that this reparations word is also going to be hijacked. It's probably been hijacked. But I'm telling you that will set America on this right course. Black and white.
Cash payments, where just individuals get cash payments.
I promise you, it would be one. I think his thing is that every African American, and you got to be defined as an African American. Like you wouldn't give a definition on how you remove people. There's a real definition on you wouldn't, but there's a real definition on who is African American and who is entitled.
You've seen the streetcar when there's a wreck and there's like 10 people on it. When the police come, there's people hanging out the windows, like. Cars pull up and people get out the car and get on the streetcar of all different races, sexes, and creeds. That's what you want? But I got to prove I'm black enough. I'm only 40% black. I don't get reparations. That black guy's going to feel good. Does Tiger get reparations?
Listen, Kamala Harris, is she black? Is she an African American?
Yeah, I think so. I think Tiger Woods is.
Tiger Woods' father was from here. His mother was from some Asian country. So listen, there's a clear way to do it. And you have to have direct lineage to enslaved people, and those people would get reparations. But I got to go help this little white lady around the corner.
Nice. Jeff, I do love the fact that you come on and talk about this stuff, and neither one of us gets like where I'm calling you later and yelling at you or cursing at each other. And I know we'll do it again. I think there are a lot of people, black and white, that avoid these topics, run from them.
That's right. Listen, I really want to thank you, Corey, for the opportunity to talk to you and your audience today on King Day. This is a little dig at you. You know, you bring the black man on King Day, but that's all right. I'm really just kidding about that. Seriously, thank you. It's really been an honor and a pleasure. And if you have me back on, we'll talk about reparations, and you'll come back on WBOK. We'll talk about we'll talk about what you want to talk about. But I think you're 100% right. It's not until people start having these real honest conversations and going back and forth and honoring each other's abilities and to have an opinion and respecting the other person's right to have an opinion, I don't think anything's going to change. So thank you for doing a great thing today.
Jeff, thanks, man. Talk to you soon.
All right. You have a great one. I got to go help the little white lady around the corner.
I like that,
Her
man.
name is Myrtle.
I like that, man. Helping out the elderly in our community. Thanks, Jeff.
All right. Thank you, Corey. Talk to you later.
You too. That's Jeff Thomas, one of the owners of WBOK Radio. No, I like conversations like that. I have to agree, disagree. Not trying to convince Jeff anything. Just I got, what I think. He thinks like he thinks. I think he's a little extreme. I think I'm a little more moderate. I think I'm kind of like the person for everybody. And I think he's kind of the person for some people. But that's just what I think. You know what I love about talk radio? I think what I think, you think what you think. The audience has an idea of what's going on. I could be righteous. I could be in denial. Everybody knows the score. That's what I love about talk radio. It's all out there. You get to decide. You get to decide. Some funny stuff. Oh, boy. Hey, Rouse's Markets, yummy. Boy, time to buckle down. The next few days, you probably don't want to leave the house if you don't have to. Seriously, especially in the morning. For around here, it's going to be pretty cold. We're dropping like 35 degrees overnight. It's starting to happen literally as I'm speaking to you right now on this Dr. Martin Luther King holiday. It was like 65 when I started the program. It's 55 degrees in 1 hour. By 8 o'clock, it's going to be in the 40s. When we wake up in the morning, about 30 degrees. Around 5 a.m., we'll hit freezing, 4 or 5 a.m. overnight. So make sure you have a little trickle going. They say like, I don't know, maybe a little smaller than like a pencil as far as the stream of water coming out of your faucet so the pipes don't burst. But then it gets even colder, like 29 degrees by 8, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then Wednesday morning, even colder. And this is South Shore, mid-20s Thursday morning. North Shore, obviously even worse. Obviously even worse. I said Thursday morning, Wednesday morning. I'm already jumping ahead, Joe. It's Dr. Martin Luther King holiday. But Corey, you're not on holiday. You're actually live on the air right now. So it's not Tuesday. No, tomorrow, waking up to 29 or so, by actually waking up a little, 30, 31, but it'll creep down like as the sun comes up, it gets colder tomorrow morning. And Wednesday morning, 26. So, yeah, you might want to hit your Rouse's Market right now and stock up for the next 48 hours. Best quality, best price, best selection, tastes like home, over 60 Rouse's. That means there's a Rouse's in your neighborhood, and they've got everything you need. Everything. Local products that you love. They've got statewide stuff, Cajun country and beyond. Regional, national, even international. Rouse's Markets tastes like home. Freeze alert, temperatures dropping by 35 degrees. Pipes, pets, plants, the triple P in effect, especially you North Shore folks. Happy Dr. Martin Luther King Day. The right man at a very volatile time in American history. Thank God for Dr. Martin Luther King. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday as the temperatures are dropping. Hey, Latrum's hiring. The global manufacturing giant Latrum, they're hiring. It's already 2024. We're in mid-January, just like that. Mardi Gras a month from tomorrow, 4 weeks from tomorrow, Mardi Gras Day. Weren't you planning on making a New Year's resolution, a new job? At Latrim, it means a new career. Some folks have been with Latrim for decades and decades, and they are hiring. You West Bankers, East Bankers, Latrim's got you covered at their Elmwood facility. You North Shore folks, Latrim has an I-12 facility. They're hiring. And it's not like a couple of job openings and that's it. Dozens and dozens and dozens of jobs available. Go to Latrim.com for a full listing of positions available. Latrim spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M, Latrim.com.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
You're listening to The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson.
Cotton Bowl winning coach Willie Fritz joining us on the program. Have you ever been part of a game that great?
A lot of things happen in the game. You just don't know the script. You got to adapt and improvise. You just got to keep playing hard the whole time, and our guys did an excellent job of that.
How big is yesterday for the overall future of the program?
You got to have the guys that really have a burning desire to get quality education and also be a great football player. You know, you got to have focus.
You've always have embraced New Orleans. You've been a great ambassador for the city, for Tulane University.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. My wife and I just love it here in New Orleans. And just everybody, the city's just sensational. We just a dime for a person who came up to me after game. I had tickets in the old Tulane Stadium. And, I've heard that a ton of times. And then, that's good that we were able to make some people happy.
That's Willie Fritz joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Roll A.
The spirit of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on The Neutral Ground.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore led us to you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria. Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans' grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you on a Monday afternoon. Hey, Young's Dry Cleaning. Find them at youngsdrycleaning.com. You can find out about their walk-up locations with personal service. You can get on their free pickup and delivery list, home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Or you can find out where some of the manless locker locations are located, called Young's Express. You dump your dirty stuff in a safe, secure Young's locker. 2 short hours later, pick it all up perfectly dry cleaned. youngsdrycleaning.com. Corey Johnson with you. Yeah, you right. Freeze alert. Temperatures dropping. When I started an hour ago, it was a 35-degree drop. Now it's about 25 degrees because in about the last hour, we've dropped around 10 degrees. And it will continue through the night. Around 4 a.m. will be around freezing. And then around 8, 9 a.m., it's going to be 29 degrees on the South Shore, which means low 20s, maybe even high teens on the North Shore. Toss in, if it gets breezy, that wind chill, lowering the temperature more. Humidity, lowering the temperature feels like even more. Mid-20s, 26 on Wednesday morning in New Orleans. Yeah, real wintry mix. I don't like it too much. Not a big fan. Lots of sports action today. The Pels lose a tight one to the Mavs in Dallas. The Steelers and Bills are going at it in playoff action. And tonight, the Eagles and Bucks. More NFL playoff action. Big sports day on Dr. Martin Luther King Day. Yeah, Dr. Martin Luther King. Can't stress it enough. Just the intelligence coupled with the right temperament. I don't know about you, but if you have any empathy and can put yourself in, if you're not black, or even if you are black, put yourself in black folks' shoes back then in the 50s and 60s. I mean, Malcolm X, like pre-Mecca trip when he was with Elijah Muhammad and those jokers, the Nation of Islam, those clowns. He wasn't against being violent. And then he went to Mecca and found out what Islam really was about, not the perverted version that this, child molester Elijah Muhammad embraced. No, and he came back a much more righteous person, embracing everyone, not coming back in denial, but embracing that nonviolent approach. So, no, I mean, great men like Malcolm X. I mean, Dr. Martin Luther King. If you go read the letter, I retweeted it today. Robert Mann, the political professor, not political science professor, the journalism professor up at LSU, tweeted. He's like, I read this letter every Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I would say most of you, black and white, have never read the entire letter from the Birmingham jail. But it is ridiculously powerful, eloquently written. I mean, I'm reading the damn thing like, I need a dictionary. I'm like, did someone edit this? It's so well done. And it just flows so nicely. And the points are extremely, poignant and obvious and well laid out and logical, and only someone that doesn't have a brain and doesn't have a heart, doesn't have a conscience, doesn't get it, isn't moved by it. Jeff Thomas, he's part owner of WBOK, the black AM radio station here in town. He joined us the last hour and a half, 4 o'clock hour, most of it into the 5 o'clock hour. Talking about all kind of different stuff. Now we're going to have to get Jeff back on for this reparations topic, Joe. Yeah, I think any group would, generally speaking, individuals don't necessarily think like they do when they're in a group. I think this thing has built momentum into like a group think now. But I mean, could you imagine just, any hypothetical you want? Your neighbor is black, and all of a sudden they get like a $2 million check. I could give a crap. Good for them. But I think a lot of people in America are going to resent that. I think people that are more blue collar, hard work, and punch in the time card, punch out, the work at the plant, work at the factory, all different races, creeds, religions that aren't black, they're going to be pretty ticked off if the guy next to him, just because they're black, did nothing special or not special, just like them, gets a few $100,000, gets a few $1 million from the government because of something from 100-something years ago, or the continuation of that. What about Native American Indians? What about other folks that, suffered, that weren't treated fairly? There's a sign from New Orleans, working on the docks in New Orleans. It's a black and white photo. It's from like 1885 during Reconstruction. And it is for a day's work on the dock, 8 hours or more of just heavy lifting manual labor. Whites, $1. Italians, 75 cents. Blacks, 50 cents. Irish, 25 cents. So the white guy got $1 for the day's work. The Italian got 75 cents working right next to the white guy. The black guy got half as much as the white guy. But the black guy got twice as much as the Irish guy. So I guess some of those Irish, the New Basin Canal, I'm pretty sure it's never been done, but I guarantee you all the Irish workers that died from malaria, yellow fever, all these mosquito-borne illnesses digging the New Basin Canal, I guarantee a lot of them are buried right next to the New Basin Canal. Like along Pontchartrain Boulevard, West End. I bet you dig up that road, you'd find human remains under there, because that's how many Irish people died digging that canal. And because they weren't valued as people, they probably weren't valued even, less as dead people, and probably just tossed it in some hole. Throw some lye on top and fill it in. Let's keep digging. Got a canal to build. Black folks are not equal to white folks when it comes to mortgages and what they get paid and on and on and on. It is not equal. I think anybody that is a white male heterosexual like myself and doesn't understand white entitlement, doesn't get all that, takes offense to that. I think you need a little better understanding, a little empathy of how things are, outside of your wheelhouse. I know the truth. Most righteous people with just the slightest bit of understanding know the truth. And that's why you have like quotas and affirmative action. And those things can be enhanced. New things can be added. Free education, things of that nature. Better mortgages, opportunity to mortgage, lower rate, whatever. But come up with creative things that are fair. I'm all for tightening the gap, bridging the gap, making everybody equal, from women, Latinos, black, everybody on the same pay level for the same amount of work. Everybody having the same opportunity to build wealth. I think like the average white person compared to the average black person, the amount of wealth is like 5 to 8 times more, whatever that amount of wealth is. So no, there is a problem. To not acknowledge it would be silly. To throw a blanket out like reparations, like it solves all problems for everybody, is absolutely insane. There's got to be a better way to do it. It's got to be. I picked up Lebanon's Cafe today for lunch, to go order, chicken shawarma, some tabbouleh, a fried football kibbe. That's like a Lebanese meat pie. Absolutely outstanding. Carlina and Heba taking care of me. They'll take care of you too. Some of the finest Middle Eastern food in Metro New Orleans is at Lebanon's Cafe. Carrollton and Jeanette, right by the streetcar barn. Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, in between Claiborne's and the River Bend on Carrollton. Tonight for dinner. They're open till 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Since 1896, a true taste of New Orleans. Leidenheimer French bread.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
You know, body language tells you a lot about what a person's thinking. For instance, that means she has an interest in the finer things in life.
The Neutral Ground with Corey
That
Johnson.
means she also wants a little fun in her life, but only with the right man.
Corey Johnson.
Now she's pouring a Colt 45, and we all know what that means.
Yeah, you right.
Mind if I join you?
You must have read my mind.
Something like that.
The power of Colt 45. It works every time.
That is a fact. Colt 45 brand malt liquor works every single time. Brett Martell joins us from the Associated Press. Very proud to announce that this segment now brought to you by Colt 45 brand malt liquor. It's not really, Brett.
I didn't know that stuff still existed.
Yeah, it still existed. I'd knock back a 6-pack last night after a bottle of MD 2020.
Yeah, you right.
How are you, Brett?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Doing well. We've got 4 minutes. Are you ready for super rapid fire round?
Yeah.
All right, this is strange how I'm going to start off, but I can't help myself. Tulane transfer portal the last 24 hours. I mean, really? All right, a couple of weeks ago, the 5-star quarterback from Oregon, Ty Thompson. Summerall in the last 24 hours. First off, he gets a 4-star high school cornerback, this Jaden Lewis kid. I don't know if Tulane's ever landed a 4-star recruit out of high school ever. Maybe. I'm not sure. But then the biggest thing in the last 24 hours, this 5-star wide receiver, Shaz Preston out of Alabama, and the 5-star wide receiver, Mario Williams out of USC. That's what John Summerall's doing, bringing in 4- and 5-star recruits through the transfer portal. This guy seems to be kicking butt and taking names.
Yeah, it's really impressive. I think even more than people would have expected so far. And, he is a young, charismatic, up-and-coming coach, and Tulane's coming off 2 of the best seasons, I would say, back-to-back in program history, or at least since the 30s. And the Tulane degree is worth a lot, so the parents like it, and he's got that going for him too. If these kids would even, stay and get the degree, we still don't know that. But look, Tulane is not a big school, but it has gotten people to the pros, and it's a program that's been winning. And Summerall, like I said, young, charismatic, up and coming coach. So it'll be exciting to see if this all comes together next year and with another great season.
Willie Fritz did a masterful job. Built the program through recruiting, solid depth, can play with any program. I was hoping sustain that. Summerall seems to be taking it to a higher level, Brett, at least with these ratings of these players. Fritz was famous for the 2- and 3-star guys and coaching them up. Summerall's getting the 4- and 5-star guys now. The guys from that Alabama, USC, these commitments, Oregon.
Right. Yeah, it does seem like a different type of player, but and we'll have to see how that relates to, from his coaching style to the chemistry of the whole team. I mean, it's still a team sport, so we'll just have to see how that, translates stylistically and in terms of production and so forth. But right now it's very promising.
Hey, the Pels and Mavs a couple of nights ago, it was just backup city for both teams. The Pels pulled off the victory. I don't even know who played today as far as starters or not. Did the big 3 get back on the court with the Pels, or were the big 3 out? The other night, no McCollum, no Ingram, or Zion.
Yeah, they had all 3 of them today. And Dallas had everybody except Luka Doncic, but Kyrie Irving played out of his mind. Dallas just did a really great job rebounding on the offensive end and had a huge advantage in second chance points, and the Pelicans missed about 10 free throws. And that really, those two little factors did them in, because they almost got control of the game in the fourth quarter and got away from them there in the last really couple of minutes. And they still had a chance to tie the game with about 14 seconds left, and Zion missed one of the 2 free throws. So they were down by 1 and then couldn't get, there wasn't enough time. They fouled and Kyrie made 2 free throws, and then they missed the 3-pointer, and then they fouled again, and so they ended up losing by 5. But
Hey, Brett, about 10 seconds. I think Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott have 3 12-win seasons and lost in the first round of the playoffs 3 times, including yesterday. The Pack rip them 48-32. Real quick, 10 seconds. Is McCarthy gone, and is Belichick going to Dallas?
Good question. It might happen, but it's hard to see firing a coach who wins 12 games 3 years in a row. It's not always the coach's fault when they fall in the playoffs.
Yep, we'll see what happens in Jerry World. Brett, always a pleasure.
All right, take care, guys.
That's Brett Martell. Check out his stuff via the AP app. Corey Johnson with you. See you tomorrow, 5 p.m.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on